Hello everybody, it's SuffolkBlue, all the way from merry old England. How the devil are you? I hope you're well. Welcome back to Starmade. We're here on Altez Prime. If you remember last episode, we flew across from the spawning area all the way across to the other side of the galaxy, really, to our new world here, and we formed our faction, the Altez Republic. Since then, I have been, oops, let me get myself still a little unsure with the controls, so give me a little latitude on that. We've had a new update, so we've now got storage included in the game. So we've got like 100 volume units, and we can't go over storage. I don't think any of mine do. That one's pretty close, that one's pretty close, and that one's nowhere near, which is good, it's empty. So I have been a little bit busy on Altez Prime, and let me just show you what we've been up to. I have manually, and I say manually because there are different ways of doing it, but I have manually flattened all of this surface of the planet of this side. So there's 5 sides. It's a pentagram, pentagon basically floating in space. This is one of the sides. You can see it's a pretty big space, and I have absolutely flattened it to the best of my ability, so that we can use this to begin building our main base upon. Now I have got some ideas about this, and I think the best way I can think that Starmade's probably going to work for me is for me to split the game into almost 3 sections. So we'll have the faction stuff, that will be the fighting, the dogfights, the sort of diplomacy stuff with our factions versus the other factions. There's shipbuilding, which is obviously really key in this game. And of course then there will be the base build as well. So I'll try and mix up the episodes a little bit so that you get a sort of a good share of each. Now today, just to say actually, I have got some ideas what to do with the base. What I want to basically create is a dome, a large dome that covers almost the entire almost pentagon shape, and then I want there to be a central column, and ships will actually land underneath the dome. The central pillar will be in the middle. It's quite complex, but it's a similar idea to what I had many moons ago in Attack of the B Team, a long time ago, when I wanted to do a sort of aqua base that was coming out of the water like a long pole with a big dome on top like a giant mushroom. The difference here is that the edge of the dome I actually want to hit the ground now, but with gaps in the dome so that ships can fly straight in and straight out. So this is going to be our capital city. This is going to be Altez Prime. What we're going to do today, though, is we're going to need to begin to collect an awful lot of resources to build that dome. I'm going to make most of it probably out of grey hull. Now, grey hull is one of the easiest things to make, and in order to make grey hull, if we come over here, I don't know whether I've shown you this, I may have shown you this, but what we need are these 2 things. Now, did I pick up any extra mesh? I did not. Okay. So we've got alloyed mesh and crystal composite, and we need to make those. I'm going to change that production now and put that on to grey hull. So we just scroll down, find grey hull. I probably can type something in, but I didn't. There it is, grey hull. Bump. Change that and activate. And what I've done by setting up this storage next door, whoops, not pressing the right buttons. This storage next door, if I put auto storage pull on, which it's now going to do, pull per tick, it should be pulling through the grey hull from here and then storing it in here. There you go. So it's going to store it in there, and then just keeps it out of the machine so the machine keeps running. So what we're going to do today, though, is look at building ourselves our little storage ship, our salvage ship, one of the ships that's going to go and collect all this raw material for us. And this is our first of the Altez Prime, or the Altez Republic ships. So let's start off, as always, with a ship's core. We're going to call this probably the Republic. Actually, I better call it the Altez so people know. So the ALTES, Altez Republic mining ship. And we're going to probably call this something else. Centurion. Oh, can't contain. See, you learn all these things. So we'll just call it the Altez Republic mining ship. Okay. Well, you're not containing it. Must have letters or numbers. You're not containing anything though. So I don't know what your problem is. Let's try that again. Altez. Oh, yeah. Can we call it one thing? No, surely not. Altez Republic mining ship. There we go. Now that's going to flop about a little bit. Let's go into build mode. I love the build mode on these things. I really do. We want to go into orbit. And the stupid thing has fell over on its side, so now I've got to come out so that I can get this to... There's no reason for it to bobble around on the floor like that. Because what it'll do, it won't allow me to build. There we go. And now we can put the engine on there as well. Go on. No thrust, because there are no thrusters. It's silly really that it's digging in the dirt, because it shouldn't be. We've got to remember though, this is an alpha game. Oh, whoops. So there we go. Now we've got a ship that we can get off the ground in. Let's get... Oh, am I in there? I'm not in there. Enter the ship's core. Let's take off and get into space where it's easier to do stuff. There we go. And we can now go outside and we're in build mode. Excellent. So we know where the front is. We have got ourselves a little bit of grey hull. I'm probably going to build out this way. So we're thinking about, I want to build something that looks very industrial. It is designed to be an industrial ship in that sense. It's going to be quite heavy. What we're going to do from the back. So let's go... I want to be able to walk around in it as well. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go up and have a look. As I say, I love the way this build mechanic works. It's just so good. I'm going to go out more at the front here again. Like so. I'm probably going to go out again. Let me think about this. Yeah. Quite a big ship. As I say, these are big industrial ships that we're going to be using to mine our resources. I can now get rid of both of those things. Right, let's go up a little bit and see what we're working with. So we're going to have walls. 2, 3, 4. Now, I haven't decided whether or not we were going to have a cockpit, so to speak. Because if we are, then actually it's probably could do with being one level back. Something like that, anyway. We then want to go... I want to go in a little bit. And then out again. Now I can do... Hold on, let's go to here. Build helper... No, not build helper. See, like that. We can make it bigger using the builder, and then actually I can get it to the same size I want. So 2 more, 6, 7. And we can go... Boom. And a bomb. See how much easier that is to build? I think I probably want to go 1 more on the edge. Oh, press the wrong button. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a big ship. It's going to be quite heavy, I think. Probably too heavy to get off the ground when we get on the planet. And I'm going to go back out here again. Well, I don't know why I'm doing this. I could do the special builder one. Let's use that. There it is. Boom. 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 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a 1, 2. Oops. 3, 4, 5. And what we're probably going to do is we're going to have a door, a door sort of onto and on and off the craft. So we can probably take, because I do want to create a little bit. As I say, it's industrial, so it's got to be a little bit cramped. It's not a. This is not a luxury yacht. This is not a cruiser that we're on. going to close you up. And we can have almost like bulkheads, yeah, between the sections. Something like that as a good shape just to kick off with. Okay, so let's get our power set up on here. Now, how do you best way to do this? I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I feel like I want to do that. So at 50,000, 920 per second. Can I do that? Actually, let's take that one down. Oops. What about that? What about that? So that's going to be 1,147 per second up to 50,000. 949. What about if I double tier that? 1147. What about if I do it that way round? So it's always the same, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Well, that's our reactor then, which is going to go straight out to our engines. What we've also got this time round as well, which we've not used really before, are power capacitors, which can store that overflow energy, if you like. And we're going to use these a bit like giant batteries, basically. So now we've got up to 58,000. 4, 5, 8. So that's you can't do that then. Well, I suppose we put that in the middle. Like that. And that. So that gives us 60,000 in total with a 1,147. Should be enough power to get us off the pad. We've got these engines as well. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could put 2 in the middle. I almost feel like I want to do there and there. That does seem like a lot of engines. I could probably take those 2 off for now. Looks a little bit like the back end of a Republic cruiser out of Star Wars. Okay, that's fine. Right, the next thing we want to build up a little bit, but I also want a line of something different in here so it looks different. Otherwise it's going to look all the same, and I don't really want it to look the same. But we'll put this in for now, but we'll probably change this when I get back down on the ground, because I want this to look a little bit different. 2, 3, 4. Very square, but again, this is an industrial vehicle. Oops, where did I put that? Put that there. Away you go. This is an industrial vehicle, and it's not built for combat. It's not built for anything really, other than mining in deep space. So we don't need to make it look flash. I'm going to give it a bit of a feel though, because this is the sort of feel that we're going to be going for a lot of our ships. I've decided on the sort of shapes that I want the ships to take, including the battleships. So they're going to be like a wedge shape. So if you're wondering what I mean, if you think of a Star Wars A-wing, that's sort of that sort of wedge shape. That's the sort of look we're going to be going for. Probably put on another row of those, and then roof it in. And then what we can look at doing is getting this on the ground and finishing this off on the ground, because we have put a rail on the ground, so we've got a standard rail down on the planet. Oops, which will allow me to take that away, which will allow us to land, and then we can actually build it on the ground, because the only reason you start building it in space really is because of the gravity. Can I get rid of that end one? I probably don't need you there, do I? Indeed I don't. And then what we've got to work out is how we're going to attach our salvage modules and our salvage computer, which we will have to slave to make it more efficient with a what are they called? We'll cross over there. So we've got a doorway in. It's all quite dark at the moment. Let's go and put our rail in. Now, we're probably... Is that right underneath the... It is not. Next one along. Okay. Let's put that there. Now here I've got my rail unit. So here's the rail docker. And this is what's going to attach us to the ground, the other side. Now I've got to spin this around. So if I hit... Oh, hold on. I've got to take off that nonsense. Then what we can do is spin this around until we get it. That's the one. And that's the direction we're going to be facing in. On the ground, anyway. And then what I'm thinking of is whether I can put in some almost like landing struts. Although I'm pretty sure that's going to look reasonably ugly, but we can always tighten that up a little bit with some slabs and such forth. Right. Can we move? We can move. Okay. Let's get a T and get our docker on our bar, because we're going to use this to land. Now obviously at the moment we haven't got any cameras or anything. I want to make a camera, I think. Here we go. I've got to try and find... There it is, I think. As we come on into land. Too far out. Okay. Getting closer. There we go. Now we can come out of this ship and we can have a look at it. And then we can get a feel of its size. And then we can make it look a bit prettier, because at the moment it looks ugly as all hell. But that's okay. That's okay. So our door is on this side. Let's take it on the floor. Here. Now there's no ladders in the game as far as I'm aware at the moment. But what we are going to include on here, so this will be our engine room area. Quite tight. Not a lot of space in the engine room, although we have got a few things at the back there for spaces and bits and bobs. Do I want to close that up at that height? Probably not. We probably want to go one higher, don't I? I've got to put lights in here as yet. Let's go... Let's have a look, see what it looks like from the back first, because that's always a good indication. It's probably about right, actually. Okay, let's go and do a bit more building on it. And this is the great thing, is you can just sort of go in and, you know, start it off. I think we're going to go one higher, put the lights in. So actually, we can cut this across here. Oops. Really claustrophobic in there though, isn't it? I think we might have to go higher. Otherwise it's just going to be really close. The engine room probably is not going to look quite so bad. If we can go out here and do maybe a run of two, like a spine almost of the ship right down the middle. Whoops. That needs to be 3 actually. But anyway, we can do that. Something like that. And actually, if I get the wedges, because we've got wedges, bring them to the bar. Again, this is where this game gets really easy to play, so much easier than a lot of other games. We can just wheel it around so we get the shape we're looking for. Something like that. Then we can do the same onto the side. Let's wheel it around again. Did that go out one further? Was that a 4 over here or a 3? No, it was a 3, okay. So, as I say, we're going for that industrial look. I think what we'll do in the last 10 minutes, because obviously you're not going to sit here and watch me make all of this, is I'm going to go away and finish this off, and I'll bring you back and I'll show you the finished look, and I'll show you where I've put things and how the whole thing is sort of going to work. So I will be right back. Welcome back, everybody. So here we go. This is the sort of final ship, really. Let's have a little look from the angles. So you see I've sort of gone for that very modular look. You can see where the salvage cannons, I don't know why we're getting so much so little frames all of a sudden, but there you go. You can see where they are around the edges, and they run along the top as well. This thing on the front here is a camera which will enable me to see from the very front of the ship, and that way I get sort of the ability to see where we're going, because otherwise you just see the cockpit inside. So you can see that there's sort of modules on either side, a little bit of ribbing almost, and then we've got the engines at the back there. Quite a lot of engines actually at the end of this, and so what's that, 10 engines there. And I actually also put 2 engines underneath. I don't quite know how they're going to work, but when we go into the build mode I'll show you. This is our ramp up, which is actually connected to the ground. It's not connected to the ship, and if I hit the R for the Plex door, that opens that up, and we can now go inside, and we can shut that door behind us. So we're now on board the ship itself. You can see that I've got the salvage computer at the front here next door to the cannon computer. I've slaved the two. So what I mean is that if I press C here, this is now sort of feeding into this one to make the cannons all go a little bit better. This is one of the engines you can see here that's facing downwards to help us hopefully get off the ground. All this empty space here is actually not empty at all. In fact, if I go to let's go into the ship and go to here, you can see these sorts of lines here. This is what cargo looks like at the moment once you're in build. I don't know why it does this. There's actually a specific look and feel for cargo, but it just doesn't show it. So, but there is actual cargo spaces there. So these as well are also linked to our computer. So if I come here to get in the right spot, up a little bit, down a little bit, without going crazy, here. So that's slaved, and as you can see, each of these is also connected. I've also connected up the cannons as well. So everything is now connected up as far as the computer is concerned, and therefore we're now probably ready to give it a little test flight. You can see out of the cockpit what our view will be when we get into space. Not a great view, but again, this is a mining ship. If I go to this one, we can go in here. So you can see there's not a lot to see in here. This is all reactor and capacitors. This is all engine, but nevertheless we've got a little space at the back there if we wanted to do something. We can close that up. So I think it's about time, and as you see we can go, if I stay in the actual ship core, that's all we can see, which actually is not very much at all. With the camera at the front we can quickly nip to the front and I can see what's going on. Let's give this a go. Let's see how easy we find this to try and get off the ground, really. Oh, go on, don't tell me you're going to get stuck on the floor. Oh, we're going up. We are going up. Cool, that took some time to get off the rails, didn't it? Maybe it's to do with being sort of connected to those other blocks. Perhaps it doesn't like that too much. But we're just going straight up now, so you know I've not changed the shape. So we sort of head straight up. We are now out, and now the engines really do take over as we free ourselves from the gravity. I want to see if we can quickly find... let's see if we can't find a set or some asteroids. I'm probably going to need... Was there anything here that I need? It's not too far away. Distance, that's Atlas Prime. Let's do that one, that's the closest. So now we can go and find that. Here they are. Let's go and see how we get on. We need to select our salvage computer so that we don't pick the wrong one. Engine's now at full. Plenty of power from what I can tell. This Vertican apparently we're going to be collecting here, or Vertikine. Oh yeah, loads of asteroids. Okie dokie. Let's begin to slow ourselves down. Oh, the slowing engines is good. That looks pretty cool. So we get ourselves ready for mining, and we mine. Let's get a bit closer. And you can see, although whilst we can sort of drag this around, it does seem a bit stuck in one place though, I suppose. It's not too bad. Yeah, there we go. Rip through them. And if we go and check in a second, hopefully... That's the sort of thing we can do. We can sort of put ourselves on a drift mode and just drift like that through the... Get in there, get all that good ore out. I'm going to have to do a lot of this, so I've got to get very used to just sitting here and aiming this at things. A little bit of block lag there, that was that problem. Okay, so let's pull away from that a little bit and stop. So there we go, we're now inside the ship, up in space. You can see what we can see out of the cockpit, not a lot, but a good view nonetheless. We're up here, quite happily living in space. Back of the engines at the back here, and if we find, not that one, or that one, look, you can see a little bit of cargo has been going in here, because as it fills up it starts to fill it up. So this is starting to fill up, it's gone straight into here, and I think as this gets more it begins to sort of build up until they're all full. So at the moment they're empty because there is nothing in them, they're empty, and then as it fills up, so it sort of makes sense, doesn't it? So it's not about crates really, it's about empty space that you fill up with stuff. So the last thing I want to do is I want to go to the shop. We do have a shop near us. Here's one. Shop. Plot path. Let's go and find that shop. Where's that shop? Oh, hold on, we need to do that. Let's turn you off. And I'll pick that up. Is that the shop? Yeah, I think so. Full power to our 12 engines. So we're going to head to the shop, and we're going to just quickly sell up all the bits and bobs that we don't need, really. And I think while I'm over there as well, I'll buy a shield capacitor, a shield generator, and a shield renewer, so that we can put some shields on this thing as well, just in case we do get attacked. Although, as I say, we've got no weapons on board. We're sort of a Republic mining vessel. We're not some sort of galactic battle cruiser or anything. You can see the shop over here. This is that long, thin type of space station jobby. As we head towards Altair the Sun. Hopefully we're not going to burn up before we get there. I think so. And you can see if I go backwards, can't really see anything from inside the cockpit. That's why we have the camera on the front. Makes perfect sense. Here's the shop. We can begin to slow down a little bit. And stop. Good stopping. Lovely. Let's press B. Are we close enough to the shop? Oh, here we are. And terrain. The first thing I'm going to get rid of is all that rock. Sell amount. And I know that I've got 38778 because I'm not going to need any of that, so we can get rid of that. Huge amount of credits. I don't really need that storage either. Although I suppose I might need it for something. Let's have a look. Have we got storage on here? No. Oh, they've got shields though. So shield capacitor 600, we'll buy one of those, and a shield recharger, buy one of those. I'm also going to buy a ship core so that we can build another ship, because obviously next time around we're probably going to require Bobby AI, capable of providing basic and rudimentary automation functions useful for building automated turrets. It can be configured. Okay, we don't need that yet. I also feel that I could buy another couple of these. We've got one already. There we go, we've got 4 now. Ready for when we do get a ship that requires it. I don't think I'm going to need anything else. General. Here we go, storage, cell. Might as well get rid of that. Manufacturing, maybe? Space station. No. Can't have any of that. Just seeing whether or not we've got any factory. There's a factory units actually. Ship maybe? For grey hull. So many things here, look. So many things. Astrotech. Used in conjunction with an Asterix computer can create a basic but effective repair system. Oh, would you believe it? Oh well, there we go. We're not going to sell any of those. We'll keep these ourselves. So the next thing then is we'll just head back. I wonder actually if I can put that in here while I'm here. Here we go. Oh, that's what that looks like. Let's go back here, because what I thought is we could probably put our shield unit in there, and our capacitor there, back into the ship, and you can see on the left hand side that little yellow bar is now creeping up, so we now do have some shields on board, which is going to be really useful for us. Let's just quickly head back then to Altez Prime, plot path. Where is the planet? Here it is. Full power to engines. So now we've got some shields on board, which is really good. Might have to sort out that landing and takeoff jobby, because it does look as if that's a little bit of a problematic because of the either the feet on the bottom of the ship or the sort of ramp that leads to the door. One of those two things is causing us a little bit of problem. So good. So these vessels do have shields, we've decided, which I think is probably important. Although we shouldn't get attacked out here, we could probably put a faction computer on board, like a faction module, and claim this as one of our faction ships. I don't know whether that protects it or not, but certainly I know you can put a faction module on a ship. So there we go, 100% shields, which will be good. Here we go. I'm coming back in now. The problem I always have with this place is finding where my flat side is. I suppose it will get easier once I have the full, but look at the frames per second have just plummeted. Hope it's not going to stay like that for long. Back up to 36 again. Probably needs to be a bit higher than that. In we come. Staying in orbit, we'll just fly around it really quickly. You can see the rest of the planet. So much. If you wanted to flatten all of this, you just have to. I mean, there is a build module you can use. I didn't actually use that on mine when I flattened the side that I flattened. But it's remarkable because every time I come approach this planet, I can never find my flat edge, which is just about typical, really. There, that looks interesting. Go to 1. So now we've engaged the docking unit, or the ROW unit. Yeah, there you go, you can see the ramp over here. And then we can sort of get ourselves into a little bit of order. And there we go. And we're down. And we're down. We can open up the door, down the steps, and out. So there we go. There is our first salvage ship, which is just the Republic mining vessel. That's all it is. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's shown you. I mean, again, this is not the prettiest thing I've ever designed in my life, but it's a very functional thing. Seems to work. I'm going to spend many, many hours up there now mining enough stuff so that we can get enough grey hull ready for our next episode, which is going to be a base building. And what I'll hopefully have done before then is cover the whole of this floor in grey hull tiles so that the grass is hidden behind lots of these. But in order to do that, I'm going to need to make a lot of these. So over here I'm going to let this run and keep it running, and you can see that it's running all the time. We've got 500 odd. We're probably going to need about, I don't know, 40,000. So we'll let that run. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, remember to leave a like, any comments as well below. Do check out the other players who are in the Starmada server. All their links will be in my description. But until next time, from the Altez Republic, you take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.